Hey everybody, it's Jim Johnson. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to continue my actual play of my Captain's Log solo RPG character and first mission here. I thought we'd just jump right on in here. If you've watched the first couple episodes of this series, then you can be up to date. Just a quick recap for you if we need it though. We started episode 1. I'm still waiting on a title because the episode has barely even revealed itself to me, so I want to kind of see how things go. We got the first officer's log here all set out, the Isoyon. We've been diverted from our standard medical support mission to conduct an important second contact mission. We started into the little teaser scene here, and immediately we have a problem. We revealed that there is a complication happening on the ship, so the Commander Woody, is trying to figure out what that issue is, working with his science officer, and we kind of work through here, and we discover, yes, there's minor damage to the power network and to the sensor pallets. So we talk to the engineers, have some issues, and then, immediate problem coming up. We have a distress signal coming in from the rehabilitation center on Tau E in the Malay base system. We do a little bit of investigation here. We find out that it's a Federation Medical and Mental Health Recovery Center, 14,000 inhabitants, comprising a mix of facility staff, support crews, patients, etc., etc. Sensors are at 50% capacity, so that is an important factor for us here. Sensors, 50% capacity. All right, double checking here. Yeah, we got a secondary system power fluctuation in the ship, so that's a little issue to deal with. Laying a course to Tau E, best speed right now, and off we go. So that opening teaser, we immediately know that we have a minor problem on the ship. We have a sensor pallet acting up. We have a power system fluctuation acting up, and we're on our way to an important second contact mission to get important food for the Federation and to create a trade agreement or possibly an alliance with this new species. But we got the distress signal. Distress signals always take priority, and that just gives us a great kickoff to the mission here. So we're going to just jump right into it here. I'm going to skip the writing out the pros in the spirit of just moving this thing along a little bit here. So what I'm probably going to just do here is do a series of bullet points and just kind of like work out the scene beat by beat, moment by moment, hit all the key points. If there's any places where I need to like create names or something, I'll just make a note of it so that I don't spend a lot of time here doing that. In fact, let me start my little stopwatch here. I want to try to get this down to half an hour just to see how we can move it along, and so that it's not a huge amount of time for you to commit to watching this video. I can always make more short videos if I need to, but I don't want to just go on and on and on here. So let's just see how we can crank this through here, right, shall we? All right, so we're getting ready to do Act 1, Scene 1. So clearly, the ship is going to arrive in the system. We will assume that in the space between the teaser, the opening music, and the commercials, and then bringing us into the first scene here, excuse me, the captain's been brought up to speed on what's happening. Ship breaks out of warp and slides into orbit around Tau E, which, if I remember right, is a heavily forested planet. We can review that later when I start writing out the actual story. So first thing we should probably have happen is a sensor task, right? That's always a good, popular, easy thing to do initially right off the bat is you come into orbit into a new system around a planet. What's going on? We know that there is a distress signal, so the first thing the captain or the first officer will probably want to do is ask for a sensor check. You can see what's going on here. So if you follow along in the core game loop, of course, on page 238 in the Captain's Log book, it's also on the downloadable forms, or not the downloadable forms, excuse me. It's in the quick reference back in the back of the book. Which is also in the forms. Anyway, so we know that our goal is to narrate to a task. We're telling the narration until we get to a point of uncertainty. The point of uncertainty here is that sensor task. We need to find out what are we going to learn here, what's going on. So we're going to roll the dice here. What's being challenged? The character, the ship, the crew. What are they trying to do? What are they trying to rely upon? For the stats, roll 2d20. So we'll jump over to the character sheet here. We know that the ship has some specific statistics, and the character has some specific statistics, and we will, I think we'll have the ship do this one, because I don't think Woody would necessarily be the one manning the sensor systems, so I will leave that to the ship and to the crew. So there are two options here. I could go ahead and create a character sheet for the science officer, or do a creation play for them if I want to create statistics, or I can just lean into the ship stats that we already have available to us. So we see that sensors is a 7 and science is a 2, so that gives us a 9. We do have a complication in play right now, being that the sensors are at half power, so I'm just going to keep that in mind as we work the narrative here. I got my D20, my 2D20, excuse me, and I'm going to roll 2D20, and I need to roll a 9 or less to get a success. So let's see what we've got here. We have a 18 and a 10. So that is a couple of failures here. No complications. Just a bunch of failures. So we failed to sensors revealed nothing out of the ordinary, or perhaps that sensor issue, the power fluctuations, are causing problems. So we have no long-range sensors, at least no information from long-range sensors, and we have no good information from short-range sensors, other than to say, sensors inconclusive. We're having some power fluctuation issues. That frustrates the captain and the first officer, no doubt. So let me just make a quick note here. Failed. No threat accrued. But Cap and XO frustrated, going in blind, potentially. All right, so a couple things that I want to roll on the probability matrix. First of all, are the pirates still in the sector? Are they still here lurking about? Are they still, and this is not something that the crew or the character would know, but this is something I would know as the narrator. So let me go to the, where is my probability matrices? Yes, no probability matrix. So are the pirates still in the system? I would say that is somewhat probable. I think they did a hit and run. They hit the thing. The characters don't know what's happening down on the planet just yet, but did they do a hit and run, and are they waiting to see what happens next? Or did they just go off and mind their own, go off to their next conquest or whatever? So I'd say I think it's somewhat probable that they're still in the area. So let's roll on that. Somewhat probable. 1 to 12 is a yes. 13 to 20 is a no. So we have a 1. So yes, the pirates are still in the area. Yes, still in the system. Probably hiding behind a moon. Probably hiding behind asteroid field. Any of the great classic tropes that people do in science fiction stories. Now the pirates probably detect the Isoyon coming into the system. So let's find out if they detect that. I would say it's probable that they would detect it, because the pirates are probably putting themselves into a good situation to keep an eye on things and be on the lookout for any ships coming into the area to help the rehabilitation center. So I'm going to say it's probable that they're keeping an eye out on things, and my D20 roll is a 13. So probable is a yes on a 1 to 15. So yes, they're still in the system. Yes, they're watching. And by default, I'm going to say that yes, they know. Yes, they know the ship is present. So that is a nice little threat, just kind of, lowercase threat, hanging over the crew here. Next probability roll is communications out on the base. Now, they were able to send out an automated distress signal, but can the ship communicate with the station? I'm going to call this. I'm just going to go straight 50-50. Like the damage done to the base, we don't really have a good sense of how much damage was done. I don't think I listed that in my last session here. Let me double check my notes just to see here real quick. I think we knew that there were 14,000 inhabitants there. I don't think we went into any particular detail on how much damage. I can always go back and look at that, but if you remember, hit me in the comments below just to tell me. So that they were checking the sensors. There's a distress signal, but it wasn't. It was an automated distress signal. Yep. So we know there's an automated distress signal, but we don't know what the problem is. Right? That's right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's the Washington is the ship's present. Are comms working on rehab center? Yes, no, maybe. I can't even type. Rehab center. There we go. Yeah, close enough. All right, so let's say it's 50. I'm just going to go, total chance 50-50. Was the communication system knocked out, or is it still active and operating? I rolled a 19, so no, comms are out. Comms are out. Oh, this is always fun, right? You got an uncertain situation. You can't see, you can't hear. Oh, this will be fun. All right, so the captain says, all right, Commander Whitey, pull together a landing party and head on down. Don't know what's going on. Don't know what's happening. So, Whitey to lead and landing party or away team, whatever you want to call it. Party to the planet. Whitey to lead party to the planet. They also either the captain or Woody can say, sick bay, have medical teams standing by, have the sick bay ready for triage just in case we need it. Have a security team meet me in the transporter room, and let's go. So let me see here. Gets the sick bay ready. Gets a medical officer, a security officer, maybe 2 security officers, and a couple engineers. Mix of people. Pulls the usual suspects. Probably the main characters more often than not. As tradition, it's always Kirk, Spock, McCoy going down. So it's always the main leads that go down. So we'll get the main characters going down there. All right. So park the ship in the atmosphere. We've already done that, and we're not going to send shuttles yet because we don't know exactly what the status of the situation is here. All right, so Act 1, Scene 1 continues. Let's push that down. All right, so technically, that scene is complete, right? So opening. I mean, if you're talking about like writing a teleplay, hitting the beats. Opening teaser was what's happening. Off we go. Scene 1, we arrive in orbit, we do some scans, we do some checks, inconclusive scans of the system, inconclusive scans of the planet. We got our probability matrix. Captain looks to Whitey, says, all right, get a landing party together, go down to the planet. And then end of scene 1 is beaming down to the planet. All right, and if I were to be tracking this, I would go to my little captain's log sheet here, and I would say, yep, mission tracker, boom, scene 1's done. You can use this however you feel like it. Of course, I'm going to use it just to kind of keep track of scenes. Act 1, Scene 1, yep, we're beaming down to the planet. We failed our task roll there, for us to be aware of. So now we're going to jump into Scene 2. So we go down to the planet, and there'll be description. We go into the planet. Let's see, we need to get a sense of just how much damage was done here, right? So let's find that. Let's see here. We want to look for the probability matrix about damage. Ship in distress, subspace matrix. No. Locations and starships, I think. Where is that one? Here we go. Generating damage. Or casualties, maybe. Yeah, let's do casualties. Crew casualties. Here we go. Estimate of crew casualties following a battle or other event. You may roll in the tables below for department that suffered a breach. No, I just want to get a sense of numbers here. Fatalities, survivors. Well, there were 14,000 people on this system. So let's just, for the sake of it, let's roll in the first one. I got a 3. Okay, and then the other one I've got a 14. So okay, so there was an attack on the system. Okay, so Whitey beams down with his landing party. They fairly quickly take an assessment. There is some minor damage to the facility. Minor damage to facility. Although let's say it's targeted damage. Let's see. How about is the power systems of this thing out? Rolled a 2, so that is yes. So power systems and comms on the facility are out. Minor casualties. New fatalities. But like a lot of structural damage, a lot of minor casualties, minor damage to facility, but targeted damage. So that almost makes me wonder, is there any potential shenanigans going on with the personnel located on in the facility, right? So let's jump up to these are random spins. That's not what I want. I want my I just want my probability matrix here. I'll have to adjust my bookmarks so that it's easier for me to find what I want. Here we go. Probability matrix. So could there be a saboteur or a pirate ally in the facility helping things out here? Maybe. Why not? Is that likely? There's 14,000 inhabitants on here. It's a medical recovery facility. It's open to injured service people, families, staff. 14,000 people. It's. I'd say there's a reasonable probability here. I'd say it's somewhat probable that there's an ally here. So let's roll the dice. We got a 12, and that is exactly right on somewhat probable. So yes, this is just a little bit of a color to add here. There is at least one pirate ally working at the, or actually not just necessarily working, but there's one pirate ally present at the facility, perhaps serving as a forward operative, help the pirates know what to target to knock out the power and to knock out the communications, which suggests maybe the pirates are planning another attack, which would make sense because they're still in the system and they're keeping an eye on what ships come into the area. So maybe they did that initial attack. Why would they do the initial attack? Maybe they are would they dare attack a Federation starship? Probably not. Somewhat improbable. Let's just talk this through here. 15. So no, they wouldn't attack. So looking to attack or take over the facility. They're not. This is we're getting into their motivations here. They're not looking to attack a Fed starship, and this is all motivation that might come up later in the story. In fact, we do have a non-player character motivational situation here. So why don't we jump to that and get a little more detail on these pirates? Yeah. Let me do that. Where is the NPCs? NPCs. Oh, man. So I'll remember for next time to reorganize my bookmarks so it's easier for me to find this stuff. If I had the book handy, I would just flip through the pages. But I didn't. I don't have it. So we're on the other side of the computer here. I hate to waste your time, but that's what I'm doing. Wait, name generators. Nope. Let me go back up. All right. Where's my handy dandy chart? Here we go. All right. Upbringing, environment, don't care. Cultural traits, goals. What are their goals? Let's see. Does it have goals of any value here? I didn't like add to their amazing collection. That's just weird. I don't think goals are relevant. They're probably here for resources and supplies. Their tactics. Let's see. Does tactics give us anything interesting here? Stealing. Well, big shock there. And what is their outlook on the Federation? Manipulating. Manipulatable. Hey, there's a nice little typo. Federation outlook 13 manipulatable. Oh no, actually they're different. If you're manipulatable, that's one thing, but if you're manipulating somebody, that's two different things. Nice. Okay. Anyway, so no real issue here. They're jealous of the Federation, but I don't know that that'd be an issue. But let's throw it in there. So they are jealous of the Federation. They are here to steal stuff. No big surprise there. So probably this is a well kitted out rehab facility, a lot of medical supplies, a lot of resources available. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, so the Federation have not had an opportunity to defend it very well, especially because this is immediately post-war. Resources are stretched thin. The pirates are taking opportunities to nip at the edges a bit and grab what they can grab before the Federation gets back under its feet and gets more allies. So they attack the base initially, are hanging back to see what the response is, and then presumably after the Federation leaves again, then they would come back in and attack again. So they're probably just waiting and watching. So they're not looking to attack Fed Starship. They're just here to steal stuff. So this is a nice little mystery that's starting to come together, because who's that operative, right? And do we have even any idea? So again, this is all color that is tying into the story here. So let me fix this a little bit. Take that highlighting off. All right. So Voidy meets the commander or the admin of the rehab center. It's an Illyrian, out and open as an Illyrian. Let me fix that typo there. All right. So the narrative would continue. How many casualties are we talking about here? Is that relevant? There's 14,000. How would I make an estimate of that? Let's roll a d20 as a percentage. So 6% of the population is wounded. So 6%, that seems like a lot of the population is wounded, but no fatalities again. So pretty significant quantity there. And I will be the first to admit that I am horrible at math. So we're going to multiply 14,000 by that. So we got about 800 wounded. So approximately 800 wounded. But hey, guess what? This is a rehab and medical center, so probably a lot of them are being taken care of. But the Angle does have resources and supplies. So the ship itself probably not equipped to triage that many people, but they do have medical personnel, medical supplies, etc. that they can bring down. So how do we want to handle this? Would we triage on the ground? Would we send down? Yeah, we would probably send down personnel to supplement the medical center here. It's still going to be a lot of work. 800 is no joke, especially with a staff. I mean, there's 14,000 people here, but that staff probably isn't more than 10% of that. So you've probably got a lot of wounded compared to number of doctors and nurses and so forth here. So yeah, this will be a pretty significant effort. Plus, you've got lots of damage to the facility. So we're going to need engineering teams and medical teams and Voidy, because Voidy is Voidy, and he's also the main character, and he's also very familiar with criminal organizations and rapid analysis, etc. I want to give him an opportunity, because a good mystery is irresistible, to kind of take this all in this opening scene as he's taking in the information. He's getting a sense of this. I would think he would probably call up to the ship And I'm just jotting all this down. I'll clean all this up in the narrative. We'll clean it all up in post. That's the great thing about writing, is the going through Captain's Log here is giving us all the bones and all the meat for the story. And then later, as we get into the narrative and I start cleaning up the prose, that's when it all starts to come together, and then you'll see a nice flow. Once I finally get my AO3 account, I'll put all the nice prose up online. But right now, you're kind of seeing the meat and potatoes and the sausage making of going into a story and just laying it all out, like the bullet points. Here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. Putting all these things together. It may not flow perfectly, but like it's coming together in my head and it's coming together on the screen. Hopefully you're following along and all this kind of sort of makes sense. I'm trying not to make too many assumptions about what's happening. I'm trying to really use the book, but if you're not seeing that, call me out on it and let me know. I'll try to go into a little bit more detail here. But Woidy, let me just write this down. So Woidy calls up to the ship for more engineers, medical staff, even support, like temp medics, like anybody who's taken some medical training, and it's like a standby medic or standby triage officer. They're all going to get called up. So this is going to deplete a good chunk of the crew on the ship. So we need more engineers, we need more medical staff, and we need more temp medics. Maybe there's a handful of that 800 wounded that are seriously wounded and could maybe need to be beamed up to the ship. Would that be likely? I don't know that would be necessarily likely. This is a rehab and recovery center, so I think that's probably pretty unlikely. But just for the sake of conversation here, let's call it somewhat improbable. So let me go back to my my probability matrix, and I should really just print that out and just have it next to me so I can just glance at it. I think I'll do that next time. I'll remember that for next time. So probably somewhat improbable that anyone's so badly wounded that they would beam them up as opposed to just take care of them here. And I rolled a 15, so no, there's nobody so badly wounded that they would need to be beamed up. Let me just make a note of that. No one is so badly hurt that they need to beam up. All right. Well, Woody comes up to the ship for more engineers, medical staff, temp medics, etc. So that all is getting underway, and Woody, being Woody, is going to say, "Well, hold on a second here. This damage is interesting. I want to research that. I want to look into that a little bit. Maybe grabs tricorder, maybe just spend some time just kind of staring at the situation and taking in the information. He is an experienced officer, well disciplined. So let's say this is going to be an insight plus security check to say, okay, what's the deal with this? What's the deal with this attack? What can I glean from looking at the damage, looking at the wounded, just looking at the overall situation, taking in all these data points, using his knowledge of criminal organizations, emotional intelligence, mental discipline. So there's certainly a focus here that applies, especially I would say rapid analysis more than anything else here. And he's got a value he could lean on if he needs to, but I don't think we need to challenge. We're not going to challenge that value. We're not going to use that value just yet here. So I'm going to call this I'm going to call this insight and security. So that gives me a 15 target number to shoot for. 11 plus 4 is 15. Let's see what we got here. And I've got a focus in the works here. So I've got a 2 and I've got a 10. So that is a bunch of successes. So the 2 would actually be 2 successes on its own. But so this is a bunch of successes. So for the purposes of Captain's Log, I have momentum. So I have momentum on that roll. So let's see. So I rolled. Let me just make a note of this. Rolled insight plus security, 15 TN. Rolled what did I roll? A 2 and a 10 with a focus in rapid analysis. And I got momentum. Now I can hold on to that momentum, or I can spend it right now on an advantage, or on, obtaining information would be interesting, but nah. Let's just grab a let's grab an advantage here. So we'll jump down to the table here. There is a table for accruing advantage. Here we go. Advantages and complications. Let's see if this even might apply here. This might not apply, so that may not be what I'm looking for, actually. Let's see if it comes up with anything interesting, just for the sake of it. Surprise discovery. Yeah, I don't know. Well, let me just make a note of that on the side here. Advantage. Surprise discovery? Maybe, maybe not. All right, so Woidy. So this is a long scene here, right? So we take in the situation. We're talking to the admin. We see that there's a lot of wounded. The medical staff at the facility are overtaxed. They can use some help, but fortunately, no one is so badly hurt that they need to beam up to the ship. In this case, the facility's sick bay gear and equipment capabilities, etc., are sick bay level quality, so they don't need any special gear or assistance from the ship. They need bodies. They need people to help with the backlog of wounded to triage, etc. So Woidy calls down for engineers. He calls up for medical staff. They start beaming down. Probably come down in shuttles as well. Probably a mix of beam downs and shuttles. Might as well just make it more efficient, right? The angle is a small vessel. Probably only has like one or two transporter rooms. Could only beam down so many people at a time. Is probably more efficient in this case of in this kind of an emergency situation to beam people down quickly, but also to load up the shuttles with gear, supplies, and bodies. Right? You can probably pack 6 to 8 people in a shuttle. So maybe bring down a handful of shuttles. The Engel class probably doesn't have that many shuttles, but we can send down a bunch as needed, just for the sake of the narrative here. And plus we get some nice exterior scenic views of several shuttles leaving the sick bay, or leaving the shuttle bay, excuse me, and going from there. So we'll beam down to the planet, and then while that is all happening, Woidy and the admin are probably taking in the situation. He's probably talking to the admin, or they are talking to the admin, and says, okay, there's something hinky about this whole situation here. Uses his rapid analysis, gets a great success here, and says, okay, this damage is too prized to be an accident. The casualties are probably the significant damage to the comm center and to the power systems, so that's clearly where a lot of the injuries came from, plus probably some of the outlying buildings got damaged as well. So this was clearly a targeted attack. And I think Woidy is probably smart enough to understand criminal operations, criminal behaviors. Does he recall, or does he know well enough to know what kind of pirate organization who might have done this attack here, right? All we know, all the characters know, is that there was an attack. The staff probably didn't get a good look at him. It was probably rained down from on high, either an aerial bombardment or a fly-through attack of the base of the facility. So let's have Woidy. Let's lean into criminal organizations here. So I would call this probably a. In this case, I think I'll go with reason and security, because it's not so much. This is now calling into memory and thinking about different organizations that they've dealt with. So reason security is a 913 is my target number. Rolling 2d20 here. I have a 13 and a 20. All right, so let me get a little bit of notes here. So Woidy rolls on a reason plus security TN is 13 to with criminal org focus to determine who might have done this, who might have done this, and gets 1 success and 1 threat, or a threat. We don't have numbers of threat, we just have threats. There is a point of threat, and I'm going to immediately cash that in for a complication, because I want this to be more complicated. I had a thought, and I'm going to see if the dice work with me here. So let me go up to advantages and complications. Complication. Let's see what we can get here. And I may already know what I want to do with this, but where is it? I rolled an 8. Environmental danger. No, I want something else to happen. Where is there an example here? Can I just do it? Yeah, I'm going to call it 16. Diplomatic incident. So there's a complication, and the complication is that the first contact species wants to get on with the meeting. Where are you? Calling the captain of the ship. So Woidy succeeded at the task, so it has more information about the pirates, or has more information about the attack. Reasons out that this is probably a pirate attack. There's probably been increased pirate attack activity all along this sector of space, wherever it is. Maybe this is along one of the neutral zones. Maybe this is along contested territory with a different civilization besides the Klingons. Maybe this is like I don't know, Nausicans or Orions or Kzinti even. And there have been assorted pirate attacks in this area. Yep, and but reasons out that this was probably a pirate attack. So reasons out that this was a pirate attack, and is it likely that they would also reason out that is there a chance for more information on here? Of course, I don't. We've already got threat, although I spent that on a complication. And the reason that it was a pirate attack, most likely. Oh, you know what? I like Nausicans. Let's go with Nausicans as the pirates. Most likely Nausicans. Is he likely to know that the Nausicans? Do they have a habit, or do they have a tradition of hanging out and waiting? So let's see. 50-50. No, he doesn't pick up on that. Okay, I rolled a 14, so that means no. So Woidy doesn't think that they're likely to still be around. Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. Come on, he's smart enough to know that there's something hinky going on with this base, right? So he knows. We got a significant success in the fact that the damage was too precise to be an accident. Clearly, it was a targeted attack. He knows it was Nausicans. Let's say he knows that Nausicans aren't necessarily the most precise. Do they have help? Would he know that? Rolled a 2, so yeah, he reasons that they likely had help on the planet, and inquires of the head of the operation here, like is it likely that you got a not so much a saboteur, but is it likely that you have somebody working here that might be working for them? And the administrator, who is very proud of the Federation. Okay, so has a lot of pride. So the admin proud of the Federation would probably be surprised at that. How could you even consider a member of the staff or the facility to be working for the pirates? Voidy, being experienced and being well versed in criminal organizations and the criminal mind, says, well, you never know. Anything can happen. So yeah, with that in mind, then we'll head toward the kicker of the scene here. So let me put scene 3 in there, and the kicker at the end of the scene. At the end of the scene is the alien species. What is that? That is Showbinder. And go to here. What was the name of that species? We had the Ufuhavid. That's it. Ufuhavid. And we'll hide the binder again. And we'll go down here. Oops, I got the wrong one. There we go. That one. Yep. Oh, actually, here's a question: Is it the Ufuhavid that are calling, or is it Starfleet that's calling? So let's clarify that. So let's say it's 50% chance it's the Ufuhavid, 50% chance it's Starfleet Command who's calling in. So it's 19. So it's actually Starfleet. Okay. So yeah. So here's what we got. We got the scene. Voidy figures out that this was probably a precision attack. Also reasons out that it was probably pirate attacks, most likely Nausicans, because they're in the area. He knows that Nausicans aren't necessarily the most precise, so in talking with the admin, who's proud of the Federation, they can't imagine a spy, but Voidy is suspicious and knowledgeable about criminals, etc. But then Starfleet Command, who has probably been updated. And this scene's probably taking a couple hours, give or take. If you just think about timeline in the course of the story, this isn't just happening in 20 minutes or half an hour, however long it's taking me to bang this together. I'm actually over my time, so I'm going to cut this here at the end of the scene. So the kicker at the end of the scene is Starfleet gets on the horn and says, "Get on with the second contact mission. We need that food and that trade agreement." All right, so that's going to kind of create a little tension point here in the next scene, because what's the captain going to do? What's the first officer going to do? Are they going to beam up and leave the facility to their own devices? Are they going to leave Commander Voidy behind along with the rest of the landing parties, and the ship is going to go off and do the first contact? I want to give some thought to that, because the whole point of this first mission was that first contact. But now we've got this interesting thing going on here with the facility attack and the pirates. Maybe we can play with that a little bit and think about that. So this case here, I would say, I'll go back to my my sheet here. I would say this is a long scene. Scene 2 is complete. I'm not necessarily going to say whether it's a success or not, because we succeeded at a couple of rolls here. We had some complications. We got a point of threat, and so yeah. So now that's scene 2. We've continued things along. There's a lot of detail to add into the narrative once I get around to doing that. So I think this is a good place to stop here for now. I'll continue this next time, where we have to see what's the captain and the first officer going to decide to do. Are they gonna leave the facility to its own devices, or are they going to leave the commander and the team here on the planet and then go about the first contact mission, or like what's going to happen next? We'll just have to see what happens next time. So thanks so much for spending your time here with me, listening through this, working through the next scene here. I hope you've enjoyed it. Any questions, drop them in the comments. Feel free to like and subscribe if you want. Check out the other videos that I've got on my channel. Thanks so much for your time. Again, this is Captain's Log, Star Trek Adventures, the new solo RPG. It's on pre-order right now, and will be going live August 3rd. It'll be at Gen Con at the booth. So if you're going to Gen Con, grab a copy at the booth, or at least check it out. Talk to Michael Dismuke if you can. He's the lead writer on the book, and I worked with him a lot on this book over the last 17, 18 months or so check it out. And in the meantime, have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.